Welcome to the Joe Biden podcast. We're all here with the children. You put the radio cast on with it's all about the friends, folks. Look, I don't know if you've been down to the local YMCA on the Tuesday, but after the Tuesday with the look, I don't want to get to that this way. I yield my time.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Twink Revolution. I'm Sam.
I'm Gian.
And sadly, that was a Joe Biden intro because he's getting a fucking podcast.
Yeah, of course he is.
It's the worst news of the whole entire coronavirus. It's because he's not connected to his base.
Yeah, this is the tragedy we have to put ourselves through. I mean, we live in a world of tragicomedy, and Joe Biden has opened another front for us.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. It says it's like him and his White House friends, apparently.
Yeah, it's to promote his ideas to his base while we're in coronavirus
What
lockdown.
ideas? Like they're serving pudding in the Red Room today? Like, I can't imagine what fucking ideas he has.
Oh, I read an article, I think it was Washington Examiner. They were also talking about things he liked, like his favorite movie and stuff like that.
Oh, humanize him. Perfect.
Yeah. I've never heard of the movie they mentioned. I don't know what it is. I don't care.
Birth of a Nation. Some lovely Lena Riefenstahl films or something.
Yeah.
Lovely. I sounds good to me. I mean, isn't his entire appeal that like people don't know what the fuck he thinks and that they like kind of just project onto him whatever. He's like a human Rorschach test, right?
I guess so. It's more like, I think it's more just that he was the VP to Obama and they're like, oh, the black man liked him, so we like him.
Oh, totally. No, I mean, I understand that his appeal sort of to the Democratic like base. I'm just wondering like what would be the value of him having a podcast? That would be him having to talk.
He's trying to deplatform Hillary's podcast.
Oh, he's just trying to silence another woman.
Yeah.
The more qualified woman. Wow.
Yeah.
How you been holding up under quarantine?
Good. What day is it? Day 8?
No, like 26,000. I don't know.
I think it's been day 8 for me. You've been on quarantine longer.
I've been longer, yeah. Is it day 8?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
It feels like forever.
What day is it? It's Wednesday now, so it can't be day 8. Didn't you like your last day at work was like a Sunday or something?
No, it was Sunday, but like the actual lockdown didn't go into effect till like Monday at midnight. So It was like, yeah.
That checks out. So thankfully we've had plenty of time to invest into important things. Like you just gotta like during dangerous times, you gotta do a sort of just a focusing act and just really, really narrow in on what matters to you in life. Like Twitter.
Yeah, I've definitely not been overusing that at all.
No. Twitter as a replacement for therapy, friends, social interaction. Perfect.
Addiction.
Yeah. A replacement for meth.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. We got followed by somebody I'm a big fan of.
A while back,
yeah. But so this is like kind of embarrassing, but I'm gonna like fangirl because I can and because we're locked in a house, so fuck it. Yeah, Tom Ballard, he's an Australian like comedian, talk show host. He did a lot of stand up back in the day, radio host, and fellow gay. So he followed us, and he has a fuck ton of followers. And I was like, oh, like whatever, robo follow or something to promote some content. I didn't think anything of it. Then that account liked a few tweets, and they were kind of sassy tweets. And I was like, oh, that's fun. And then I'd like clicked over today, and he's just like gone full communism. Like it's quite hot.
Maybe he was always a communist and we just never knew.
No, I know, but anyway, he's outed himself on Maine as a comrade. So, Comrade Tom, welcome, welcome to the revolution.
Yeah, according to Wikipedia, which is, a highly reputable source, I saw he endorsed the Victorian Socialist Party, which, if it's like actually what the Wikipedia page says, it sounds pretty good. It's like democratic socialist.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. No, I mean, I used to watch his like stand-up specials, and when I was in New Zealand, he was all over the fucking show. So
yeah,
I'm delighted. So anyway, hi Tom. We hope you listen. My God.
Speaking of comrades, Comrade Britney Spears.
Oh yeah, she doesn't follow us, so she's dead to me.
Not yet.
Work up to it.
No, but it's been like a super viral meme.
Yeah, Britney Spears is a comrade apparently, which is great.
I mean, she's not, but it's fun to pretend.
It's fun to hope. I mean,
it's like parasocial, like
it's parasocial socialist club.
Yeah, it's what everyone wants while we're like trapped in a house while she's in like her mansion.
I mean, aren't we all just prisoners inside, really?
No. We're just dead inside.
Some of us are prisoners with hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, I guess it would be a qualitatively different experience, I think, to be in quarantine with a full staff and like presumably a private chef and shit like that.
Yeah, but apparently, someone shared an article about how she got influenced on her Instagram post, which is like. It wasn't even socialist. It was more like, connect with your family and stuff.
Well, it's also to say we strike and the word strike was in there and something else. We redistribute wealth or something.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's pretty cool. The fact that people think that's
socialist.
Well, more than that, like Comrade Britney is sort of kind of sad. That's a minimal requirement of like, the idea that if markets exist as a tension between labor and bosses, right, then things like strikes are kind of the only counterbalance.
Yeah,
they're the only tool. So liberal democracy loves fucking strikes. No, and I genuinely mean that in terms of like a well-functioning liberal democracy would require that there's some ability for labor to withdraw or change its price, right? And so if you're a sort of Elizabeth Warren style liberal, you would be at least in principle in favor of certain kinds of redistribution to sort of fix those market distortions. But a perfect, beautiful market sometimes just gets it wrong a little bit around the edges, and you can fix that. And then should be in favor of strikes because that's the only tool that labor has to negotiate.
Yeah, run strike now. Do it by yourself and never tell anyone.
Yes, just stop paying your landlord right now and say nothing. Make no public statement. Speak to no tenants unions. Just stop paying rent and it'll go fine. Your individual action is all that matters. That makes you the truest socialist.
Plus, everyone who's like sharing this is like completely ignoring the fact that it's based on like a Refinery 29 piece that influenced her, which is like. It's like the BuzzFeed of like New York City, and it's like for like bougie white women
and me.
You've never read Refinery 29.
I've been linked to at least one Refinery 29 article in my life.
How many times did you cut yourself afterwards? 29.
That's what the 29 stands for. So Tom Ballard's a real comrade, and Britney Spears fake comrade.
Yeah.
No time for fake friends in 2020. We're in quarantine.
What if in her next music video she does like a bunch of hot men, but they're all like former like Marxist revolutionaries? Has like a hot Stalin, hot Marx.
She would be exploiting them still.
What if she sucked their dicks on camera?
Then it's a hot exploitation.
Yeah, it's basically like.
I mean, I would watch it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm like, still, it would still be exploitative. If she, I don't know, goes and overthrows a government in third world or something, like that'd be pretty cool.
You want her to overthrow a government in a third world?
Yeah. She has enough money to the CIA does it for less. Like, you just pick a random sort of country with a sort of weak liberal democracy in the global south and go like turn into Britney-istan or something. It'd be fucking awesome.
Your Trotskyism is coming out. No, I'm just kidding.
Permanent revolution, and we will not do socialism in one country. We'll do socialism in every country where Britney has had a top 10 single. By my newspaper.
Yeah. He's not a Trotskyist anymore.
No,
anymore.
I backed off all that quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was a fun time in my life.
Did you sell a lot of newspapers?
No, I couldn't. I mean, I'm bad at sales, so that's clearly what held me back.
Yeah, that's why you're a podcast person. I'm just kidding.
Hey, our moderately unsuccessful podcast rules, man. Much better than any fucking newspaper.
Hey, we have Tom Ballard and maybe one day Britney Spears following us. So
yeah, we're just going for the Britney follow. We got the Boots Riley retweet, and that was sort of the to me that was sort of the pinnacle. It's all downhill from here. I was kind of gunning for much. I would have settled for much less impressive a media endorsement than that.
I'm just waiting for like that one hit piece where someone's like, "Look at these Red Brown Alliance and like Nazi gays talking about working people wanting rights and stuff. How dare they?"
Yes, doing class analysis is Nazism. Same thing.
I just want an article. I want like some obscure weirdo or like.
Well, I'm writing it. Okay, look, it's not easy to get distracted and procrastinate.
Gian, we're on lockdown. You have nothing else to do.
Yeah, but it's so easy to procrastinate. Wow, is that your Corona playing out there? Just cough into the mic.
Sure, let's go with that. Well, speaking of getting Corona, everyone's favorite shitty libertarian son, Rand Paul, has Corona.
Bless.
Is he the first congressperson, I think?
I think he was the first to be tested. I think there's more now. I don't know. Do they all have it yet?
I hope so.
I hope they all have it too. And like, I don't mean that in sort of any callous way. I mean, they're still people, but like not in any way that matters to me.
Are they people?
No, that's what I'm saying. They're people, but not in a way that matters to me.
I've watched enough Alex Jones videos to know they're all lizard people. I've seen the footage where they flicker.
Well, no, see, lizards can't get Corona, so they might be pangolins or something.
Why does Hillary not have it yet then? More evidence.
She's been in her burrow. Yeah, so he was going to the gym and shit, Rand Paul. He was like in Galt's Gulch or whatever, sort of espousing his primacy as the only productive individual in Congress, unlike those looters and moochers.
Yeah.
And he got tested positive, and then I think still went swimming to the gym or something like that in the Congress, which fucking rules.
I've met him. No, I've seen him before live. I never met him. I met his father, Ron Paul, many times. He was a coronavirus denialist on his like Ron Paul Institute channel.
Wait, Ron Paul is?
Ron Paul
is a corona denialist?
He's comparing it to 9/11 radicalism afterwards.
Yeah,
so, like
9/11, nothing happened. Like what is he talking about? Nothing happened on 9/11.
But he's like, for one, like when I met him years ago, he was literally already senile. Like it's kind of like Joe Biden, where like
more or less senile than Joe Biden.
Less.
Okay. Yeah, no, because I've seen Ron Paul speak, and he seems a little more put together.
Yeah, Ron Paul basically can speak, and then like once you talk to him outside of that, he's like, like I'm a confused old man, and he has no idea what's going on.
Oh. So like Biden in the Bernie debate versus outside the Bernie debate?
Exactly.
The Adderall kicks in or something. Who amongst us hasn't snorted Adderall to get through a particularly difficult exam?
Why do Adderall when you can do meth? It's far cheaper, free market. The marketplace.
Oh, no, I spent all my meth money on tigers.
Well, it's not for tigers. It's for 19-year-olds who like tigers.
Yeah, but you got to get the tigers first. So.
Yeah.
So denialism, like kind of weird right-wing denialism, is a fun news strand.
Or just like promoting like the economy over the impacts of the virus. Like I think there was a clip going around of the lieutenant governor of Texas, I don't know his name, on Tucker Carlson saying, no one asked the old people if they're willing to die so young people can have an economic future.
Oh yes, people were comparing it to the brave sacrifice of the Fukushima reactor workers, like
Really?
Yeah, so the in Japan the Fukushima reactor was melting down, and a lot of the much older workers sort of volunteered to go in and do the first shifts of cleanup and whatever disaster mitigation, because they're like, well, you know what, like that sounds like they were offering to sacrifice themselves. They were not. It's that the lifetime exposure of radiation is dangerous over time. So it's like, well, okay, you're in your late 70s or something. You have a few more years to live. The radiation is not going to be the thing that kills you. Very different from just go out and get a disease that will probably tax the healthcare system beyond its ability to save you.
Yeah,
Rules.
I think they're just worried about big government. I mean, there was Mississippi's governor was like, oh, we're rejecting the at-home like staying thing. Yeah. Because we don't want to become like China, a place that stopped getting
a place without coronavirus. Don't want to be like them. It makes sense. The kind of what people miss about, I guess, like conservatism as a social force is its affection for kind of trust in hierarchies, and events like this or climate change, or even maybe like economic downturns in general, but certainly things like this, these sort of black swan events, which are like show the lie of the ability of these institutions to actually like protect you. These hierarchies are not, it turns out, not working for you. They're not benefiting anybody. So it becomes an inconvenient truth, if you will, to borrow a line. And so it's easier to just say, no, it's not. Like, it's not happening. This is not inconvenience. This is not inconveniencing you, and therefore you're being lied to.
I also think a lot of people probably like, oh, why would anyone support this? But I think being in the U.S., where like the institutions in power seem to fuck over regular people all the time, it's quite reasonable when there's no left to be like, oh, here's why this is going bad. People are like, oh, these power institutions are just bad because they're bad, and they outright reject them. It's why they're like the anti-government crowd is like a lot of working class people. But
yeah, I mean, it's mistrust in the government is a sort of an American sport that is done in the sort of the least productive way.
Yeah,
and it sort of ties into even ideas like this sort of individualist stream of consciousness activistism. So like our friend of the show, Joshua for Congress, screaming into the void, I'm telling people not to pay rent. Which is like, that's cool, but as an individualized action, it is completely useless.
Also, it's not cool.
No, it's not cool at all. We should talk about that. But like, so the idea that you, in your relation to government, is sort of like the primary site of oppression in your life is so absurd, but it's something people are very convinced of.
Yeah.
They'll get fucked over by their boss, complain about their boss loudly, and then come tax season be like, the government is oppressing me. It's like, yeah, that's the main source of pain in your life, buddy. That's, and not to say that there's much to recommend the U.S. government to people, but it's definitely not the primary source of oppression in most people's lives.
Yeah. I mean, it also just shows that there is no left because no one's actually trying to reach out to these working class people and actually try and change them over. Instead, it's a bunch of like blue-haired, like bourgeois, like PMC people being like, I'm going to talk about things that no one cares about, and that's my platform, and we're going to, punch the Nazis and stuff.
Is that great? Coronavirus is just another sign that white people love white supremacy more than they love life.
Oh yeah, or Extinction Rebellion's like, coronavirus is the cure, humanity is the virus, or some shit like that they're posting everywhere.
Yeah, I didn't understand that one because their name is Extinction Rebellion. Surely they should rebel against sort of extinction threats.
Or the rebellion is creating human extinction.
Is that what it is? It's a rebellion that leads to extinction?
I think
then like climate change on, motherfuckers. Like, bring it on.
Stupid as shit.
Yeah, no, I think they're like fuck you dad politics morons who I know are mostly for show. They put up some flyers and then they mostly do like shitty performance art.
Yeah.
like interpretive dancers wearing shitty costumes.
It's also sad because like I know I've been telling you I've been looking at like political like parties that are like Marxist in like countries where the tradition of working class struggle never fully had the Red Scare, like Ireland, and like all their candidates and people in their pictures look like completely normal people. You would never know. Like it's like I don't
They're
know.
not dressed up as dinosaurs doing a sort of 3-hour slam poetry reading or some shit.
And they never mention like any of the like identity politics in their platform. It's all just like
Wow, racist.
economics.
They're
and, like,
ableist. They're xenophobic.
Yeah.
They did no growth.
They never mentioned gay people, which means they're instantly homophobic.
Homophobic, yeah. No, awful.
Yeah. It makes me sad.
Yeah.
And jealous.
Me too, honestly. It'd be nice if there was like any working class movement here. But the problem is it's something like the fact that people will uncritically give support to something like Extinction Rebellion. This is largely a sort of weird PMC fixation, right? But sort of well-meaning people who are like, wow, gee, yeah, climate change, really important issue. These are the people I trust. And then look at the government of the United States, which manages to covertly invade nations, boondoggle trillions of dollars into weird projects and special interests and stuff. Like, they're very efficient. Like, they're incredibly competent in this regard.
Yeah. They're good at pissing off working people. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, the right wing were just funneling them to make the left seem like complete idiots. And just
no,
like...
I mean, it seems it's a psyop. But that's what I'm saying is that people would say, wow, Extinction Rebellion, I really trust them and their message, but the government, I don't trust them because they're bad. It's like, well, yeah, they are bad, but they're not bad for the reasons you think.
Yeah.
It's missing the point, I think.
Because of America, KKK.
Greatest carbon producer in the world. Yes, yeah, we know. Yeah.
This is completely random, but kind of related to like the weird PMC struggles that people get behind. David Hogg, that one of the March for Our Lives kids.
Yep. No one would look at his hog.
Oh,
wait, is he of age?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
He goes to
I would
Harvard.
look at his hog.
He's a Harvard school student.
Never mind. I'm retracting then.
But his like big thing right now is attacking TikTok because it's owned by China. And it's like it's like basically like if a Cold War like person was like, here, say this stuff in your Twitter. Like that's his new thing. It's like, oh,
wasn't he always kind of that like smooth brain lib though? Is he like MSNBC poisoned?
Yeah, but I think he's always been poisoned. His dad's an FBI agent.
Yeah, but whatever. As a child, I don't care. But now he's reached an age where
he goes to Harvard.
He's showing us his hog and telling us his dumb opinions. But yeah, it's just parroting just this mainline liberal, like, and I mean like small L liberal and big L liberal.
Yeah.
Just Democratic Party fucking dumb talking points, just hysterical nonsense.
And big L loser. Like he's not relevant anymore, and he's trying to. Like, I think they're all trying to cling on to something, and the only one that's actually done it pretty well is like the one that talks at like CPAC every year. The one who did the
right wing one.
Yeah, he's never gonna go away. But everyone else is like withering and just gonna go over.
He's kind of endearing in his own way.
He was hot.
Yeah, I think I mean hot, but he also like to the extent that I felt like his message was the crispest on that whole issue in terms of gun control, right? Of all these people trading on a certain kind of trauma, he did the best job of it.
Totally.
By giving the most crisp presentation of which parts of this experience were actually traumatic and which parts are sort of transferable experience.
Whenever it came up as like trauma porn just for like weeks, like it's like everything was just like I don't know. Like,
no, and I think people who attack the Parkland kids are morons, but like there is something interesting. There's an interesting sort of analytical lesson in the different ways in which the various members of the Parkland troupe performed their roles.
I think it's fine to attack them. Just attack them for the right reasons, like
like their haircuts, their sense of fashion.
Their neoliberalism.
Well, yeah, and the problem is when you have somebody like David Hogg is using his platform, which was supposedly always this isn't a partisan issue, to just recite horrible, like anti-China shit.
I'm supporting Hong Kong. Like,
Yeah, it's just this sort of stuff. It's like, well, okay, cool. You've lapsed out of the place where you had some credibility, which was maybe on like, gee, what is it like to be in a school during a school shooting?
yeah.
Into you're a 20-year-old moron with bad political takes you kind of learned from MSNBC.
He diverged from his like one issue that made him famous, and now he just like fizzling, or he's getting ready for like to run right after college for like a Senate seat or like a House seat.
Of course he is.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't.
Yeah, it would seem plausible that there's a sort of career politician in the making.
He's
How
gonna be
tedious.
our not Bolsonaro, Juan Guaido. He's gonna become the interim president for Trump. Just take over.
Can't wait. He's going to declare himself the president of America.
Yeah.
Oh, look, sorry, this is late breaking news, but the Senate just actually approved the historic $2 trillion stimulus deal amid growing coronavirus affairs from CNN. So they got a package done.
How much are they gonna give us?
I don't know. Well, $17 million, I think, is what's in there. I
guess-
requested more, but I think it got trimmed out in markup.
Fuck.
Yeah. Cutbacks in the Twink Revolution production studios.
Our economy's fucked. They're predicting like 30% unemployment now.
Yeah, I there's sort of this idea that the economy is what determines who becomes president next. As in, like, for incumbents, it's always like, it's the economy, stupid. That's the line people use, and I don't think that's true. I don't think that will bear out in this particular political contest because
I don't think it matters either.
Yeah, it's more like the sort of post 9/11, like the entire country is sort of reeling in shock and they're looking for assured leadership. And Joseph P. Biden is doing weird green screen videos where he just sort of tails off and interrupts himself. His CNN interview was so strange.
Plus, like, after all of the like Russia stuff and all of this shit, like the Russia trials, which were a joke. His base is just too strong for like Trump's base is too strong. They're just gonna show up, and no one's gonna show up for Biden because it's all like a few PMC like blue, no matter what shitheads, and the rest of us are just gonna like stay home or like vote third party or.
Yeah, he's just not inspiring, even in a way. If you just sort of take off your black-pilled socialist glasses or whatever and just put on your like total normie hat, you go, okay, there's Trump who is sort of making these profound, broad, sweeping statements about how like he will fix this situation, and you've got Biden like slurring his way through a handful of non sequiturs that are sort of the softball questions given to him by CNN, completely anti-charismatic CNN anchors, and he can't even get a full answer out. It's just weird.
I'm kind of excited for the debate still between Joe Biden and Trump.
I don't think they'll do them.
No?
No. Like that's to put it this way, like there would be no benefit to Joe Biden to do them.
I'm so sad. I'd actually like. I know they're both extremely awful, but I think it'd be funny as shit. Like,
oh yeah, that would be hilarious. But it would be an unequivocal Trump victory.
He would just bring up NAFTA, and it would be over.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. He can just sort of attack Joe Biden on anything because whatever, and then Biden will kind of be like, listen, fat, you got the wrong guy on the stick at the end of the. Anyway, I yield my time.
Trump just brings up like, Joe, you bleeding out of your eye again, you know.
Yeah. Rapey Joe, folks, Joe's bleeding. He's bleeding.
And then literally just like has some like blood come out of his eyes.
You gonna cry, Joe? Joe, oh, Sleepy Joe's crying again. I don't see it. I don't see this being a successful electoral strategy. And I've moved on. I've made peace with the fact that this is what is being served up to us by sort of bourgeois political spectacle. And I can only say, like, I was very invested in it for a little while as a potential strategy. There were times in my life when I wasn't particularly invested in any of this, and I shall again be not very invested in it.
I also don't think Joe Biden wants to be president. I think he's too senile, like, to actually care. I think
He's running for Senate.
He's just a face to be propped
He said he was
up.
running for Senate.
But like in his recent interview where like he just completely mumbles on like, what was it, MSNBC or like CNN, he's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that after talking about like teeter-totters.
That way, yo-yos.
As if he like scared, and I'm like, oh, he's clearly being...
Yeah, he's going to get beaten. They're going to put him back in the cage if he flubs the line again.
The John McCain cage.
Going on in the Hanoi Hotel with the old the president. I mean Senator, my boss. What the God, awful.
He's having he's dead, but his daughter is having a child. That's horrible news. The McCains. Meghan McCain's pregnant. McCain. No. It's like these are the coronials that we all were told about that we never wanted.
Isn't she married to some, like, I remember her, she wrote a story, I think, about how she, like, her and her husband got together and some, like, post 9/11 trauma story.
I have no idea.
I can't remember. I'm half remembering it.
I thought it was, like, some, like, Zionist person. I don't. Or maybe I'm mixing up Ivanka Trump. Sorry.
They're all. I could be too. I know they're kind of interchangeable. These like scions of bad political families.
Ivanka is like far hotter than Meghan McCain.
Well, sure, but I mean,
the real debate is who's much more attractive, Meghan McCain or Tiffany Trump.
Oh, that's unkind.
It's Tiffany. She has a heart of gold. You can tell. Have you seen her music? Yeah, you've seen her music video.
Yeah, I saw her music video.
You guys haven't seen it. Look her music video up, and it's gold.
Yeah, no, very high quality. I'd say it's Joe Exotic's self-produced music videos and Tiffany Trump's self-produced music videos, like are kind of a similar caliber.
They should do a song together.
That would be amazing. I would listen to that.
It would be the best moment of 2020. Before, like, the locusts eat us alive, we all die from coronavirus.
So we're getting this sort of modest bailout. Joshua for Congress is telling us to just not pay rent. What do you think about this sort of idea of just not paying rent?
That's great if you want to live on the streets right now. I mean, unless
so you're suggesting that the only apparatus of government that are still operating is basically the mechanisms to use like police and things to evict individuals.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's true.
I mean, it's like, why would you start a rent strike when no one has like a basis for any of this during a time when you're not allowed to interact with anyone in the physical like space, like online activism?
But you can just post. You can post and get lots of likes on your tweet if you just shout "General Strike" into the world.
That's not even real. Like, you need to be physically occupying like spaces to like actually create some disruption.
Bodies and spaces.
Turns out signing papers and stuff is not really effectual in almost any circumstance, except for giving money. I think money helps a lot.
Yeah. I'm sort of. I feel like there's a missing element to some of the conversation around strikes, which strikes, as I said, good idea, and they're a good idea under a liberal market framework. Even the problem is that the strikes need a crisp set of demands.
Totally.
And to the extent that like you need to have leverage as well. The problem is that for the people who are currently like quarantined at home and whose labor is not wanted, right? Your employers are not paying you right now, or they're trying not to, right? The employers would like the cost of labor to be zero right now because they're not selling anything.
Yeah.
There are a lot of, most places are closed, right? Outside of like some, supply chain stuff and some grocery stores and whatever. So if the nurses union wanted to go on strike right now, they could fuck shit up.
I think some of them have been doing that because they're being told to like wear like bandanas and stuff as face masks.
Right. So see the leverage, clear demand. Good.
Yeah.
If you are currently sitting in your basement of your mother's home, posting 21 hours a day on Twitter, what is your demand? Like for one, what is the leverage you have? How do you cause disproportionate pain to your employer or the target of your strike versus you like the pain you will feel.
Yeah.
You have no leverage. There's none. Sorry. And what is your demand? Pay me? Like pay me to do no labor. I'm sorry. That's just that doesn't work because you have no leverage. That's a great demand. Pay me to do no labor is a wonderful demand.
Yeah.
I love it. That's my demand all the time. But
It's
you need
too
leverage. But no, but you also need leverage.
Totally. I mean, I think so much of this stems from like the anarchist kind of world of like the general strike thing, and like I've literally asked them like, oh, what should we strike about and what should demands be? And they're like, doesn't matter, we should just strike. And it's like, okay, well, you're gonna
We
lose.
will ride trains. Was that there was like some train?
It's
what is that guy?
Crime Think.
Yeah, Crime Think.
It was
Thank you.
Bashkar Sankara.
Yeah, Vashkar retweeted Crime Think, I think, or something.
Yeah.
So, but it's a guy, yeah. So some anarchist guy, he's American, I think, who runs around like on YouTube with a selfie stick and a bandana over his face.
It's actually a Turtle Islander.
It checks out. And yeah, he like rides trains around, like stealthily jumps onto trains and spends hours camped out in like shunting yards waiting to jump on trains.
Yeah, there's no labor organization in any of that anymore.
And I think he's buying stuff from stores as well. As I said, I didn't watch in enough detail, but I think it was him like buying expensive camping gear from a store.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sure there was some shoplifting involved somewhere, but it's like a candy bar, not the like many thousands of dollars of like high-end camping equipment he buys.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't know either.
I didn't watch
Anyway,
it.
I just like to mock that shit just as a like the idea of our entire world becomes one where we sort of shoplift from sort of small businesses in your area and then ride trains around.
Yeah.
And this shall be the sum of human experience for all of us. This is what the world we want to build.
It's like the voluntary homeless people who are like all like, fuck you, dad, like anarchist children. Like I've actually met a few of them when I was like,
me too.
When I went to some like DXC meetings, because there's a lot of that in their group. And it's like they clearly could have a house, but they're doing it to like promote housing rights or something like that. Or you see them in like Haight-Ashbury, like these like stoned out of their mind kids in like those big rag sweaters and like awful white people braids. And it's like, you probably have like parents with like fuck tons of money and you're just like, I'm just gonna be homeless and like travel around.
Well, and the problem there is not so much the personal action of like, if that is how you choose to live, good on you. I shall cheer you on. However, it's for one not a sustainable model for any mass organization, right? There's no way to build solidarity around that because nobody else wants to live like that.
Yeah.
And then the other part being there's no demand and there's no leverage. Like, what is the demand? Let me shoplift like rolling papers from Haight-Ashbury tourist traps. Like, cool, okay, great, good demand. And what and if we don't, what will you do to us? What you already lay across the sidewalk. Like, what the fuck else are you gonna do? That's it.
Also, like, you don't need to
ride my trains without permission. Fuck off.
You don't need to like reject any of like these basic like commodities by like to have a point like, oh, people should have houses and people should get free public transit. Like,
right.
It's not morally virtuous like when you're being a homeless and often utilizing resources that could have been for people who actually are homeless when you chose to do that. Yeah,
well, it's lifestyle anarchism, right? It's a delightful thing to watch, and it's
the only anarchism left. There's nothing left like labor.
No, there's no great tradition of syndicalism left.
It's like Chomsky, and that's pretty much it.
Well, and Chomsky himself, like, is a comfortable paid up member of the PMC. It's very cool. Love the guy. Great opinions. Love reading him. But you would not look to him as your sort of like axis of power in labor organizing.
No, you don't go to
Chomsky. He's a tenured MIT professor. Like, what? He doesn't need anything.
Also, people get upset with Chomsky all the time. You don't go to Chomsky for like labor organizing advice or like opinions on like other socialist countries. You go to him for like media interpretation and like linguistics. Like, You don't go, Chomsky, you seem like an expert on the Soviet Union. Please tell me your opinions. And
No.
people are like, he's a counter-revolutionary and he's blah, blah. It's like, no, he's just an old man who's like,
He's in what, mid-80s or something?
he's in his 90s.
Early 90s.
He's old as shit.
Yeah, so a man in his early 90s has some bad takes on, I don't know, international geopolitics or something.
Yeah.
Occasionally, having had good takes for a long time. Okay, he has one take, like, go ask him about Chomsky hierarchies of grammars and shit. That's more interesting. I don't know. Anyway, so the point being, the enthusiasm and the energy of people saying general strike now, rightly outraged at the situation we find ourselves in, right? Where it turns out we built an entire country where people are required to work in order to eat, live in a place with walls, and do a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Oh, and have healthcare. And
what's that?
Yeah, I know. and finding suddenly that like that grand bargain we never really chose to make has just sort of evaporated is kind of distressing, and people are channeling that distress into either a sort of direct action, maybe lobbying of government, or if you're in a position to withdraw your labor, sure, withdraw your labor if you think you can get away with it. But it's mostly people who are essentially already furloughed now shouting general strike. Cool. What? Like, how can you hurt them?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? It's not. And then also rent strikes. I guarantee you, your landlord, as the owner of a liquid asset, or sorry, a semi-liquid asset in terms of like they can sell their house pretty damn quickly. Still, you need them more than they need you right now.
Yeah.
Certainly if you live in an urban area. And so, and they also have the full weight of the state backing them up. So what is it you think you individually can do to your landlord? If you happen to hook up with a tenants union and, find a direct course of action there where there's sort of mass action collectively can do something useful, hell yeah, do it. Go look up a tenants union in your area. Go
That
start
makes
one,
sense.
but hook up with another one. Like this has to be something you do with other people.
Also, this can't be like half-assed. Like, you actually need to have a plan, know what you're doing. You can't
That's
just
what I
like,
mean.
oh, I'm just going to stop paying them. It's like, then you're going to become homeless.
Yeah.
It's like if I stop going to my workplace and say I'm striking by myself and not have any plan, I'm going to get fired. I'm not going to...
Yes, withdrawing your labor alone tends to result in not great outcomes for you.
Yeah.
The amount of damage you can do by withdrawing your labor is very limited.
Yeah. Plus, it's like, focus your energies on like other areas. If you're stuck at home, you can just mass call like your representatives and be like, oh, why aren't you passing fucking shit? Like, do that. You're literally at home. If you have nothing to do, just swarm it.
Sure, yeah, go be obnoxious to elected officials or whatever you can. But it's more like direct that energy into finding what the locally coherent sort of collective action you can take is.
Go read some Marx. Well, do, but
read
like
more theory. No, I don't think. I think it's genuinely like go Google like tenants union and the name of your city or town. Go find people who are in a similar situation to you, who maybe have some ideas about what sort of applies and what local laws are and things like that, and who you are actually fighting and how you can hurt them in ways that hurt them more than they hurt you. Yeah, I know this. I'm a libertarian socialist. No, fuck off.
Bottom up power.
Yes, our theory of change is I, as an individual, will just change my mindset. And then that's done. Like step one, change your mind. Real change comes from within. And then step two is accept the full logic of market capitalism in its entirety. And step three is run for Congress on a shitty meme platform.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah, I don't know. Who did that?
A lot of people.
An entire caucus worth. A slate, if you will.
But I guess we can talk about things that are also canceled. Eurovision.
I'm sorry. Sam is in mourning. He's wearing all black and one of those veils, like a lace veil. It's adorable.
I thrifted a burqa. I look real hot.
Yeah, I assume so. I don't know.
Good.
Yeah, so Eurovision. Too much Corona floating around.
Yeah,
Can't do it remote either.
I know. It doesn't make any sense. They could just do it from their houses on like their Skype or something.
Except I think it's 5 people on a stage, and many of the nations, like Germany, has banned all but gatherings outside of your household of more than 2 people.
Yeah.
So, the 5-person on stage limit in Eurovision would never work.
Where's our robot saviors when we need them?
We'll do the Tupac hologram tour.
Yeah.
But of Eurovision stars.
I was just hoping to like see some more like geopolitical like shit go down, because that's not like Eurovision's like camp and like sometimes a little cringe and like what they submit. But the best parts are like the like political stunts people like to do of like separatist movement or like being dicks to like other countries or
the Iceland performers throwing up some Palestinian flags at the end of their performance in Israel. It's pretty good.
Another country did that. I think it was the representative of like Azerbaijan like a few years back, and she's part of like some separatist region. Oh, it might have been the Russian region that's like wants to leave or something like that. She raised their flag and got in big trouble as well.
Nice. Yeah.
Crimea is Ukraine.
Anyway, we're just gonna keep churning out episodes. We've got a few good guests coming, so we'll leave it there.
Yeah. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.